Welcome to Lessons in Leadership. Steve Adubato with my colleague, Mary Gamba. Mary, let's kick this program off with one of the strongest leaders you're going to find anywhere. We are joined by Tai Cooper, who is Chief Community Development Officer at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Tai, good to see you. Good to see you too. So happy to be here. Great. We've been in many meetings offline, particularly pre-COVID. We look forward to being together again. But in the meantime, do this. As we put up the website for the EDA, tell everyone what the Economic Development Authority is and why it matters to the state.
No, absolutely. The New Jersey Economic Development Authority is the economic engine for the state of New Jersey. So when you think about the major developments that are happening all throughout the state, that is what we do. The pivot, though, during COVID was also to really start focusing intentionally on small businesses as well. So we are the economic engine with a heart.
I like how you said that. Before Mary jumps back, before Mary jumps in, Tai, let me ask you. And we've had several interviews with Tim Sullivan, the CEO over at the EDA. But I'm curious, for small businesses, 1/3 of whom they've closed, small businesses have closed, 1/3, if not more, of the small businesses in the state. What are the greatest struggles in 2023 that small businesses in this state face?
I mean, so we're doing a lot of work right now with the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia, really focusing on those that are underserved and underbanked. And being underserved and underbanked is still a critical issue, especially for those who are in the BIPOC community. One of the things that we are proactively doing at every corner is making sure that we're reaching out to small businesses at EDA, really, but making sure we reach them where they are, helping them to walk through applications that can be really, really daunting, and also meeting the need, right? So if the big need is we want to be able to buy our space as opposed to renting our space, we're working on a program for that. If we're working on helping them get grants to redo their spaces through an improvement grant, that's something that we're also working on. And also providing micro businesses, because it's really those micro and home-based businesses that were hit especially hard during COVID. And so for us, what's the best way to work with them? And so it's through grants, it's through loans, it's through listening sessions and hearing exactly what they need and building products to suit that need as well.
Well said. Mary, jump in.
Yeah, I would love to talk. We talk all the time on Lessons in Leadership about pivoting, grit, innovation, resilience. I said now 3 years into the pandemic, I think some of us probably don't want to hear some of these words ever again, but it is so true. From these small businesses and the small business leaders that you are working with, talk about that connection between grit and leadership, perseverance and leadership, and really survival, especially in these challenging times.
I mean, I have been blown away with the businesses we've come into contact with over the past couple of years. It's not just about them surviving, but helping them to thrive afterwards. I mean, there were businesses that immediately went through COVID and they were hit with the storm. And so when you talk about resiliency and their ability to pivot, their ability to really have that grit to push through has been remarkable. So anything that we're doing on our side at EDA is a testament to what they've already been through, right? So if we can provide some relief at the end of the day, that's what we try to do. But there are no small businesses like the ones that are in New Jersey that have that grit, that have that fortitude, and who are constantly pushing us to change, to move the needle and provide more resources and services. But I got to tell you, New Jersey makes them tough, and these businesses have really been doing a good job in pivoting their perspective and going to online, which is very different than having a brick and mortar business, but changing everything so you can have online sales as well. So they have really been able to pivot throughout this storm and really afterwards as well.
Quick follow-up on that.
Mm-hmm.
We've had conversations with small business leaders. We actually have a small business series that we've been doing for a while now. What do you say, Tai, to those small businesses who say, listen, we appreciate that the state is attempting to make a difference, but we do not feel that the state is overly welcoming to business. And that's a real perception on the part of some, if not many. What do you say to those folks?
I push back immediately. New Jersey is one of the best places, in fact, to start a business. I mean, everything from our robust startup economy that we have here for venture companies that are looking, or for BIPOC small businesses that are now coming to the state of New Jersey. I mean, just last year in the budget, we had over $20 million that was earmarked for Black and Latino startups. And so again, in those areas where folks feel like they're not seen, they're not heard, we're actually putting resources there. In addition to that, if you're signing a lease in New Jersey for 5 years or more, we're also offering through EDA up to 40% off to help with your lease payments. And so again, for the businesses that we've talked to, we've sat there, we've listened to them, we've heard about their pain points. But New Jersey is ripe and open for businesses. The fact that we have several entities from the Department of Community Affairs to the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority who pivoted during COVID to really focus intentionally on small businesses, I would push back and just say we are doing a lot more than anybody anticipates to support businesses. And again, not just with paying the rent more, but with helping them to expand their footprint, with helping them to franchise, with helping them to go from online to brick and mortar businesses as well. So I say that there's a lot to do in New Jersey, and that's exactly what we're doing.
As we put up the website for people to find out more about how to access programs at the EDA, Mary, jump back in. But we do acknowledge that for some, it's hard to navigate, Tai, even if programs are there, it is complicated for some to navigate that. And our job is to provide information so people know where to go. Mary, jump back in.
Yeah, to tie it back to leadership, obviously we're both women leaders. I like to see us both as women leaders. For young women today that are watching this and say, hey, listen, I'm not sure what direction I want to go in, and it's a male-dominated world out there when it comes to the C-suite. Talk a little bit about where you got your confidence from. Obviously, it shows through today and in our previous meetings with you. Talk about where your leadership and confidence comes from.
I'll say a little phrase, she get it from my mama, but it really and truly is true. I've been so fortunate throughout my career, from starting working with Senator Lautenberg, where we had the FRL ladies, where there was just a dynamic group of women who took me from the very beginning and held my hand and walked me through the process, to having a strong mother who said, there is no glass ceiling that you can't break. You can move forward. And so for me, I feel fortunate for the mentors. I got to mention Micheline Davis, Marsha Brown, Nancy Cantor, these women who really wrapped their, I know you got to clap for these dynamic women, but have literally wrapped their arms around me to ensure that not only do I not fail, but that I also create pathways for other women who are coming up. Because again, it's not going to be me here forever, and it shouldn't be. We should be creating pathways and pipelines for women to get here as well, for other women to get here. I want people that are going to be way better than me. That put me to shame, actually. That's what I
But Tai, you see that as a major responsibility of yours, do you not?
If not you, then who? It has to be. It has to be. I think it's so incumbent upon women who are in positions of power and positions of opportunity to reach back and to help. Because again, but for other women that helped me, I wouldn't be here. And I feel like this, I'm just getting to like the surface of what I want to do. But again, it's incumbent upon all of us who are in leadership roles, all of us who have been there and done that, to come back and help other people.
So it's not
other
enough
women specifically.
It's not enough for you to be on all the lists of most influential, up and coming, she's a great leader, which you are on all those lists. It's not enough, is it?
Absolutely not, because you still have to move the needle, and it's not going to be one person. They have this phrase, if you want to go far, you go alone. And if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you bring others with you. And that's exactly what you have to. And I butchered that quote terribly, but the point being, it's a collective group. It takes a group. It takes a unit. It takes a team and a family. You cannot and should not do it alone.
That's Tai Cooper. She's the Chief Community Development Officer at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Tai, we thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you both so much.
You got it. We'll be right back. This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the Buccino Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, Fedway Associates Inc., Veolia, Resourcing the World, Choose New Jersey, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague, Mary Gamba, has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIA NJ and Commerce Magazine, and Meadowlands Media, a print and digital business news network. Welcome back to Lessons in Leadership. Steve Adubato, Mary Gamba. We're going to be joined by our longtime colleague, Collyn Gilbert, over at Valley Bank in just a second. Speaking of Valley Bank, Mary, they happen to be one of our major sponsors that make this series possible.
I'm so sorry. I was trying to fight
Mary? You can't be coughing on the air. What's wrong with you?
What is happening to me?
Right, then I'll do it.
Well, what's even worse is I was trying to fight it, so my eyes are watering, so I need like 10 seconds. I'm sorry. This has not happened all day.
No, I'm going to stall for Mary while she gets a drink. Gets her glasses on. She'll put her glasses on.
No, I don't know what happened.
That's okay. I'm going to see if I can make her laugh. By the way, we're still on the air, Mary, just so you know.
So we're just going to do this live. All right, I'm
Oh, yeah.
ready.
I'm Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. I swear it's better now. I can
Who are
tell
our
it's
sponsors,
past.
Mary?
Our sponsors are, we're really keeping this on the air. That's great. Thanks. Okay, great. So for our sponsors, we have today,
For the
it's like a
fourth
menu
time
at a
for our
restaurant.
sponsors. Go ahead.
Prager Metis, Valley Bank. I'm even afraid to put my glasses on now. I don't want to interrupt the air here. New Jersey Sharing Network, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, Seton Hall University and the Bacino Leadership Institute, North Ward Center, Fedway Associates, Delta Dental of New Jersey, and Veolia. That was a mouthful.
That's right. And speaking of partners, Valley is one of our partners, but also I want to welcome our newest partners at the Meadowlands Chamber of Commerce, their magazine, Meadowlands Magazine, also Commerce and Industry Association and Commerce Magazine, and finally New Jersey Business and Industry Association and New Jersey Business Magazine. Collyn Gilbert, who is in fact the Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer at Valley. First of all, welcome, Collyn.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Mary.
Do you appreciate how much time we spend thanking sponsors and
I know.
And choking.
It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful.
Oh, and one thing we haven't done much of today, Steve, is promote our website, stand-deliver.com. The reason why I like to do that, Collyn, is, we love to share articles, chapters of Steve's books. There's past interviews of lessons in leadership, so check that out as well.
including with Valley CEO Ira Robbins,
Yes.
right?
Mhm. And Yvonne Sorowick. We had Yvonne on, we had Jake on. So we have a lot of great folks. And
Yeah.
Tammy, we had Tammy on as well.
Yeah, by the way, Collyn, we have no more time left for you. We did
That's
a lot of time
perfect. This
promoting.
is
We
great.
just got to keep
Yeah.
promoting.
Good seeing you both.
Yeah. Collyn, tell little folks a little bit about your background as you come into this very important position at Valley.
Yeah. So I joined Valley 2 years ago as the role of Director of Strategy, and then assumed the role of Chief Marketing and Strategy Officer in September of this past year. But prior to that, I'd spent my entire 25-year plus career in the equity research realm. So was in the financial services industry and worked for a brokerage investment bank and did equity research. In the industry that I covered for my whole career was banks. So spent my entire career analyzing banks from the outside and decided to take the plunge and move inside a bank and understand how, the inside of a bank is run. And it's been very interesting.
Yeah, interesting is the word we're going with right now. Challenging, exciting, rewarding, a whole bunch of things. Collyn, also by way of disclosure, Collyn has been part of the Valley Leadership Academy. We've been fortunate at Stand and Deliver, our company. You'll see our website up, as Mary mentioned before, to conduct leadership academies across this country with different kinds of organizations. Valley is one of the most significant. Collyn has been a participant of that. Collyn, I remember the first day we met in the academy, and luckily it was in person. We do some remote, but it's mostly in person. I remember what you said your greatest leadership challenge was. Do you remember?
I have so many, Steve. And the more that I dug into it, then I realized how many more I have. I don't recall specifically. No, enlighten me.
Name a leadership challenge, as good as you are in so many areas, which I know directly and personally, a leadership challenge for you that you're still working on getting better at.
Ooh, I would say it is articulating and understanding everybody's individual role and how to bring that together to sort of to move in one direction. I mean, I think that's the key as a leader. And I think, moving into an area of marketing and being a marketer, I don't have formal training in marketing. So I think really being able to align the expertise of the team and making sure that we're leveraging the skill sets and the knowledge base to serve the goals and objectives that we have as an organization, and just kind of bringing it all together. That's one of the many.
Well, that's not even one. That's about 10 different challenges.
I told you there were a lot of them.
No, but then in a good way, Collyn, that you're describing how complex effective leadership is. This is not called the Mediocre Leadership Academy. It's excellence in leadership. Well, I'll follow up before Mary jumps in. One of the things I've picked up about you in coaching and working with you over the last year or so is that you are someone who expects an awful lot of herself. You have very high standards. You've worked toward them. You have a lot of grit, one of my favorite words. How challenging is it for you to realize that not everyone shares your level of tenacity, grit, and the standard of excellence? Complicated question, I know, but I think about it a lot.
Absolutely. That's a huge challenge. And I think getting to answer that and understand that is what makes even, a high performing organization. And I think while if it's not naturally there for folks, I think finding ways to dig in and understanding what motivates people and really why they're doing what they're doing elevates their game a bit. And I think that's part of the challenge and the opportunity is like, they may not come naturally with grit based on whatever their life circumstances might be, but I think getting them motivated and engaged in a way that aligns with just what their interests are and what their own individual purpose and level of fulfillment is, I think is what certainly I've been working on, or I think all of us as leaders work on.
We work on it all the time. Mary, jump in.
Yeah, really since the first time we met you, Steve and I talk behind everyone's backs in the
We talk
Leadership
behind your
Academy
back,
and in a good
Nice.
way, in a good
Yeah.
way. And we said, she's got that something. She's got that, whether it's motivation, whether you call it grit, leadership style. Where does that come from for you, right? We talk a lot about, oh, was it parents or a mentor of yours? Would love to hear from you and have you share where your leadership style came from.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I maybe part of when I first started in my role as an equity research analyst, and oddly, I was an economics major from college, and through post-college, did a lot of job interviews and said, you don't have the math expertise, you don't have the finance expertise and all of this. And I came into this sort of fell into this opportunity. And here I was needing to be a research analyst where you're surrounded by numbers, you're surrounded by accounting. And I did not do very well in accounting in college, and finance and in banking. And I thought I need to figure out a way to create a competitive advantage for myself. Like it's not going to be through forensic accounting. That's just not where my strengths are. So maybe, at early in my career, I was like, I got to get to the people part, because in banking, I've said it for all the years that I followed banking, it's a commoditized industry. What's the differentiating factor? It's the individual, it's the management team, it's leadership and all that. So I don't know, Mary, I haven't thought too much about the why of that, but I do know early in my career, I was like, I got to get and understand people and what makes them tick, how they make decisions, what motivates them. So maybe part of that natural desire and inclination to get to the people part early on, because I didn't have the accounting expertise, it's just carried with me throughout my career. I don't know.
Yeah, we ask that question of a lot of people, and it causes the best leaders, the most introspective leaders, to stop and go, hey, wait a minute. And then you're trying to articulate it as you're thinking about it. And it's easier said than done, because it's not like there's some quick answer to that question, because there are a lot of factors to it. And along those lines, I'm curious, as a follow-up to Mary's question, Mary and I talk a lot about gender and leadership. At the core, Collyn, in the spirit of asking another question that's going to have you really thinking long and hard, do you think at the core there's any significant difference in men versus women in leadership positions? And if so, what is the essence of that difference, if at all?
I would say the short answer is yes, there's absolutely a difference. And I just think whether they're in leadership or not, the gender differences between the male and the female is just scientifically there. I think how women, kind of evolve through the leadership roles is in a different way. And maybe the strength lies in, I don't know, I'm going to go back to evolution, and women are generally the mothers, and there's a nurturing quality. There's an empathetic quality that comes from being a female. There is, I would argue, a listening component, a multitasking component. I mean, there's a lot of just character traits that, and of course I'm biased sitting in the seat of being a gender of a female, but that we are either innately wired to be, or through circumstances with our family, we morph into these roles. And I think a lot of those character traits are also traits that emerge is strong leadership traits. So it may not be as intentional through the course, but it's more sort of spontaneous, I think, in the way that maybe women are wired.
And a lot of it's also out of necessity because some of us in our homes who happen to be men do not take on certain responsibilities around the house with our children. Some do. Mary knows that every time I take out the garbage or recycling, I've asked my wife why I'm not getting a gold medal. Why don't I get recognized for this? And she, or pick up one of our kids. She's like, "Are you serious? This is who I am and what I do 24/7 in addition to our career." Mary, jump back in.
I'm just laughing. I love when the garbage thing comes up because I think there was one time Steve either took the cans out or brought them in, but like they either hadn't been picked up yet or Jen had already done it. I don't know. It was just a funny story, but
I know when I don't, and I just sit there and don't say anything. And she goes, I know, right? That you
it's really bad. It's really bad. But let's pivot. So let's pivot. Let's talk a little bit about marketing and branding. I was curious about this going into today, especially the way that things have evolved and changed in the past 3 years now that we've been in this COVID world. Has your approach to communicating your brand, communicating your products and services, how has that really been impacted really by the pandemic, or has it been?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, it's coming from a little bit of a perspective in that I was not in marketing pre-pandemic. So my experiences has been impacted by the pandemic and then also kind of moving into this new career role. But in general, I think, overall, the pandemic and just, is it the pandemic or is it just the evolution of time and the evolution of technology and how we interact in society? But the human component of what we do, I think, has become increasingly more and more important and relevant. And I think with that, the authenticity of who we are, of what our brand is, of our purpose, I think that equally is kind of rising to the forefront of the way businesses are run. And again, is it driven from the pandemic and the concept of mortality and there's so many complex issues, I think, that have come through the pandemic, or is it just a function of how we've evolved too over time? And again, the idea of technology, maybe we could sit here and really break down like what the influence of TikTok has done to our society and Snapchat and all these forms of communication and perceptions of individuals' behavior and who they are. But I think it's a cry to some extent for us to weed through a lot of that and be able to come clear and clean with what's authentic, like what's truly real. And I don't mean real from our B-reels or whatever that gets done on these social media. I mean, I'm not.
All those things those young kids are doing.
You mean the pictures of our family, those perfect pictures of our family and our family life. And I would love for people to start posting. I'm glad we don't in our house, like real arguments that go on, like real, like a real reality.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So, but you and I've talked about this a lot, and Mary's been part of this conversation about wellness, a big emphasis in the Leadership Academy at Valley on wellness and leadership. For yourself, you can offer folks a lot of valuable advice right here. With a lot of imperfection, join the club, right? What is one action you have taken or will be taking to promote your own well-being, which is actually a seminar subject we have coming up next week? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think personally for me, and maybe this is not just me, it's where we are holistically, but setting boundaries and really being disciplined on the boundaries that we set and feeling good and feeling proud of those boundaries and not being ashamed of the boundaries and knowing when to say no. I mean, that's personally what I am working on. And I think that's really hard, especially for someone that, has drive, maybe is more of a people pleaser and really has aspirations to know that as an individual, you want to be better, as an organization, you want to be better. So you want to keep going at 1,000 miles per hour. But I think taking those moments and knowing when to say no, I'm not very good at it, but I'm working on it. I think that was your question, right, Steve?
Hey, Collyn, that's pretty much it. We're all working on it. And I've often said that to you and your colleagues at Valley and the Leadership Academy. We're all just in this together, just trying to get a little bit better and learning from our mistakes and supporting each other as best we can. Collyn, You're a friend, you're a colleague, you're a partner, and we look forward to our work in the future.
Thank you, Steve. This has been great. And as do I. I've had such a great experience with both you and Mary and your program, and can't say enough great things about it. So appreciative of your.
Before I let you go, you've been in corporate life a long time. The best seminar leader you've ever come across in your career, it's a random question.
Totally random.
All right, never mind. It's not about me. That's Collyn, Valley, Mary, Steve. We'll be right back right after this.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague, Mary Gamba, has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA, and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ, and Commerce Magazine, and Meadowlands Media, a print and digital business news network. Who am I right now, Mary?
Oh, I can't believe it. If we don't get a single email or a note or something about the fact that we kept in a live broadcast. Now let's just let everyone know this is not live. We have the option to call an audible, to hit pause, to restart. I can only imagine my eyes were probably bulging out of my head as I'm choking.
If I screw up, if I'm choking on water, we do it again.
Of course.
If you do it, it's just great material.
And I love the reference. We're doing it live. We're doing it live.
That was a reference to I don't want to say the great Bill O'Reilly, because I don't think that. He just was screaming before he was even at Fox. Elvin, do you remember this? We asked you this before. I think he was doing, what the heck show was he doing?
He was like trying to do a read and it was impossible. And then he's like,
no, but it was on Inside Edition, a current affair. I don't know what it was. Some wacky show he did. And somebody screwed up the teleprompter or the audio wasn't working. And he started yelling, "We'll do it live," and screaming and yelling. And that's where it comes from. Elvin, did you ever see that video?
I have
Okay,
never seen it, sir.
I played a game that you're doing other things and you can't talk to us. It's all right.
He's
Don't-
afraid
don't-
you're going to bring him on
directing a
while
show.
he's choking.
You have
No.
75
Frank knows it.
seconds left.
What's that?
75 seconds left.
Oh, wow. Now we're doing 75 seconds. I didn't even, was that a minute and a quarter? Mary, biggest takeaway from both Tai Cooper and Collyn Gilbert, two great, strong leaders who happen to be women.
Who happen to be women. I was just going to say that. I hope that any young woman who is watching right now, anyone who says, oh, it's a male-dominated world and how can I lead? Women can lead. You just saw it there with Collyn and Tai. So I am just so thrilled to have both of them on the same segment. And that just happened by coincidence that they were on the same segment. So I just am super psyched. I thought it was great hearing their leadership tips, tools, and I learned a lot. So it's good.
Right. And Mary, do us a favor. I have a few seconds left. You opted not to put your reading glasses on after I was giving you a hard time at the beginning of the show. Just show everyone how great you look with your glasses.
I love my glasses. Well, the problem is you get the whole reflection, but I do like it. But look, you could see my lights. I've got all the lights up there, but we do.
Reflection, buddy. Sorry, I take them off.
Yeah, just a little bit. But the good thing is if now I can actually read Elvin's time cues, which I haven't been able to do all day today.
What is he saying right now? Because I
He's
can't
saying
see.
that we have to say goodbye. But
Really?
yes, it's time.
Ah, it's time. Goodbye.
It's time.
See you next
Goodbye.
time.
Have
That's
a great
it.
day.
Elvin
That's
said
it.
goodbye.
That's it.
This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the Buccino Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, Fedway Associates Inc., Veolia, Resourcing the World, Choose New Jersey, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague, Mary Gamba, has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA, and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ, and Commerce Magazine, and Meadowlands Media, a print and digital business news network.